Today, we're talking about something that stay-at-home moms feel, but don't really say out loud. What do you do when you love your family and your kids so deeply, but you're just miserable? And I don't mean all the time. And I don't mean just because you're regretting motherhood or you don't, deep love your family, but you literally feel like everything is so much pressure and you're constantly underneath the giving, the mental load, the exhaustion. You're feeling overwhelmed, depleted, and honestly, not okay. Have you ever thought, why does this feel so hard? Why am I not enjoying this more? What do I need to stop feeling so guilty when I'm struggling in a life that I chose? If you've ever had any of those thoughts, well, sister, this episode is for you. Today, we are talking about the truth that love and fulfillment aren't always the same, and 4 things that may need to change so motherhood stops feeling so heavy. If you're feeling tired of being isolated and wondering where you went in the middle of motherhood, but you want simple steps to help rediscover your identity, feel supported, and create a life that actually feels good again, well, you're in the right place. Hey sis, I'm Dorcas, a Christian, a life coach, a college mom, and your safe place to be seen. I've learned the secrets to rediscovering my identity and feeling like me again with small, intentional shifts that brought clarity and confidence back into my life. If you're ready to stop feeling like you've lost yourself in motherhood, be confident again, and create a more peaceful day, so rather you're eating your kids' leftover chicken nuggets over the sink like it's a gourmet meal, or finally getting to the bathroom only to be visited by little fingers underneath the door. Grab your earbud, grab something to jot some notes on, and sister, let's have a chat. Before we dive into today's episode, I would like to ask, have you ever thought, I just want someone to walk me through this? Because I want to invite you to go a little bit deeper. I send weekly encouragement, supportive scriptures, and simple practical steps to help you feel more grounded, clearer, and more like yourself again in this season. Because this isn't about managing your home. It's about restoring your peace. Scripture reminds us that God is not a God of confusion or overwhelm, but of peace. And sometimes we just need help bringing that peace back into our everyday lives. So if you don't want to keep doing this alone, come join me. Sign up through the link in the show notes. I remember a season where I felt this tension that I just couldn't explain. Every evening we had a routine. There would be a certain set of programs that would come on that my kids would watch. They would watch a series of these programs while I was making dinner, getting things ready for the evening routine. I had to usually deal with a couple of fights or disciplining or something along the way, excessive crying, but working really hard to get dinner on the table. Then as the programs were going into other nighttime programs, we would go into the getting ready for bed routine, which usually was a haul of hurrying up and feeding them dinner, hurry up and cleaning up from dinner, getting them into the bath, getting them a bedtime story, and getting them to bed. It sounds simple, but I'm telling you, it was the longest, roughest 4-hour routine that I had to go through every single day. I found myself feeling so overwhelmed with tension, usually around 3 o'clock. So even though I'm the one that developed this evening schedule, it really was a lot of work and it took a lot out of me every single night. I love being with my kids. Fantastic little human beings. I enjoyed them so much, but I did not enjoy having to do this schedule every single day. I felt so much tension around it because I knew that all these duties were going to kick into high gear. Getting dinner ready, getting the baths done, getting the bedtime routine done. And if one thing was out of place, it would make the routine so much drama that I would spend the entire night just trying to complete the routine. Honestly, I just dreaded it. I did not enjoy it at all. And I felt this pit in my stomach, dreading all that I knew I had to do because I knew the end of the day was coming. I never, ever wanted to admit it. I never wanted to say it out loud because I felt like that made me a bad mom. I would feel myself thinking, I just do not enjoy this. I thought I should be more graceful. I should be more grateful with this opportunity to put my children to bed. I remember thinking I'd just be doing it wrong because I was just so exhausted when the whole routine was completed. And of course, I went into that whole the grass is always greener. I bet other moms are doing way better than me. So instead of really vocalizing how I felt inside, I stuffed it. I pushed through. I tried harder to enjoy these evenings, doing more to make it more pleasurable, and hoping that feeling that I had around 3:30 would just pass. But guess what? It didn't. Maybe you feel that way too. Like you really love your family, but some of the routines that you have to deal with every single day really are exhausting and full of tension. And maybe deep down you're feeling quiet and drained and stuck and overstimulated and emotionally disconnected inside. What finally changed things for me was realizing loving my kids was not the issue. Overload was. Pressure was. The lack of support and space was. Once I stopped blaming myself, I could finally start changing what actually needed attention. So I just want to share with you some of the things that I became aware of, and it eventually helped lighten my mother load. And I want you to just listen, and if they resonate with you, sister, I'm going to help you figure out what to do. So the first thing is the constant overload needing to change. You are carrying too much mentally, emotionally, and physically. When everything piles up long enough, even beautiful things start to feel heavy. Overload eventually affects your patience, energy, joy, and emotional capacity. A way that we can shift this is first identifying the area that currently feels too much. Notice it, comment about it, resonate how you think and how you are perceiving it. Yes, it's a challenge, and maybe it's something that you can think of while you're, washing dishes, but it's like you really need to take time out to resonate within yourself what is really too much. Maybe it's something like the schedule, the routine that you're currently operating within your family. Maybe it's having unrealistic expectations put upon you or ones that you're putting on yourself. Maybe it's you have too many commitments and you're not protecting that precious time with your family that you need. Like you're so on the go all the time that even something as simple as a sit down family dinner sounds impossible. So too many commitments, it means you may need to adjust that. Constantly saying yes, which kind of connects to having too many commitments. When you're putting yourself in a yes mode between all the commitments that you're saying yes to, maybe all the commitments that you're saying yes to for your kids or the commitments you're saying yes to with your, your spouse, it's like there's all these things that you're putting on your plate and you're adding more and more weight. Your solution needs to start with taking off the weight, reducing something. Peace comes from doing less, not doing more. The next one is the lack of personal space that needs to change. When you don't currently have enough space, enough personal space that just belongs to you, you kind of put yourself in a position where you're losing connection with yourself. You're constantly giving in your emotions and your time and just even the mental involvement that needs to be in motherhood. You're just pouring out. And over time, it starts to weigh on you. Because think about this, in the day, the whole day with your children, you are constantly needed for one thing or another. More than likely, you're constantly getting interrupted when you're trying to do something, and all that responsibility for the maintaining of the day life with your kids, whether they go to school or not, you still have all these responsibilities that need to be taken care of throughout the day. And sometimes you were doing these things when they're at school, and then when they get home from school, then it's all the routines of the homework, and then, getting the school clothes ready and getting lunches ready. And that doesn't include getting the house maintained. And this doesn't, there's just so much that's on your plate, and your nervous system, it builds up and it just starts begging for quiet. So how do we get a hold of this? How do we tame this down? Well, I realize, as moms, we really don't have personal space, right? Toddlers don't get personal space. They barely give you personal time just to go potty. And let's face it, you really don't get that. So you're going to have to be really creative for this situation to happen. It's not going to happen organically, okay? But it is so important that you are intentional with quiet time. And even if it's just 10 minutes of no responsibility, no multitasking, no productivity, just sitting and breathing, just sitting and existing for 10 minutes. But I get it, sis. If you can just get a 5 solid minutes sitting in your parked car in the driveway, yeah, that counts. All right, the next one is one that I definitely had to struggle through and become so obedient to the word of God and just praying, because I struggled with this one. The pressure to do it perfectly, to make everything so perfect, it needed to change. You may be holding yourself to unrealistic standards in this season of your life. Perfection creates constant pressure, and that constant pressure creates exhaustion. Somewhere along the way, you may have started believing the house should always be clean. Everyone should be happy. Usually you're not, but everybody else should be happy. Pressure is impossible standard to live under. Even to this day, I can count on some internal voice judging my house, judging my freezer, judging my garage, judging my children's behavior. Like, it just doesn't ever seem to go away. And that is why I had to pray on this one, and still have to pray on this one even today, because that pressure of perfection, it is a load. It is a heavy burden on me. So for you, sis, I say, ask yourself these simple questions, okay? First, what actually matters most today? What can wait? What is enough for today? I'm encouraging you to let good enough actually be enough. So it may not be perfection. It may not be at the highest standards of what you're capable of doing. We're focusing on where you are in this season right now. And that might just be that it's not going to be perfect, that it's going to be a little flawed, but it's going to be good enough. And I want you to hold on to the fact that it is okay for right now. Your value is not measured by how flawlessly you perform motherhood. And with that, I want to take you to the last thing, which is the lacking of support needs to change. You're carrying too much on your own. You're doing everything alone, and you're creating burnout. And burnout, it is not strength. Survival mode often disguises itself as being capable. I'm capable of doing all of these things. When you're in survival mode, that capability, it's not enough. It's not strength. You're holding yourself barely above water. And if you stop paddling, you're going to drown. So we need to be able to fully embrace the fact that when you are carrying too much, you are leading yourself to the path of burnout. So this is one of those ones I am so serious about, and I will share with you in a future episode the burnout that I experienced and all the problems physically and medically I had because I was burned out. So to help prevent you from this doom of pushing yourself and carrying too much, I encourage you to take one thing to stop carrying alone this week. Just one task, one responsibility, one decision. Allow support to be in your life. Let somebody help you with this one task. And please don't judge their imperfection in how they do it. Let it be something that they can take on just for this week so that you can at least get it off your mind, prayerfully get it off your mind, and focus on getting yourself away from that danger zone of burnout. Motherhood was never meant to happen in isolation. We are raising our children in a village. That village may be parents, in-laws, aunts, uncles, cousins. It could be good friends. It could be neighbors. It could be supportive people within your social group. It definitely can be your church family, but it's not meant to be alone. So there is a challenge on that table that I'm asking you to take with both hands. And that challenge is finding somebody that can take one task off your plate just this week. And let's see if you can get yourself further and further away from burnout. So if you find yourself feeling miserable in this season, especially because you thought you were going to be enjoying this season, I want you to hear me clearly. You're not a bad mom. You're not ungrateful. And you are certainly not broken. You are a woman who loves deeply, but has been carrying more than she was meant to. That heaviness, it doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means something needs support. Something needs space, and something needs change. Instead of asking today, why do I feel this way? Ask yourself, what needs to change so this season that I'm in right now feels lighter? Peace usually doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from carrying less. And that carrying less is in doing the actions that best support you so that you can fully enjoy this season of motherhood. Get the support that you need. Take the pressure off your weight, off your shoulders. Get the personal space. Get those 5 minutes. If that's all you can get those 5 minutes for you to just unwind and get reconnected to yourself. And don't allow overload to take over. Find that balance. Find the place where you and the Lord can work together in your motherhood so that you can understand it is so much better to not carry the heavy weight, but even more so to surrender to the season that you're in and allow yourself to reach the limits that you can. Start there. Hey mama, I hope you enjoyed today's show. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who is deep in the chaos and could use it today? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember, you are my inspiration, so your review lets me know I'm blessing you. Alrighty, I am off to dance to the exit music, top off my iced coffee, and pretend I didn't just hear, "Where's Mom?" being yelled from the other room. I'll meet you soon for another episode. Bye, beautiful.